So, models and drawings. What those are is it is a picture or an art form. So, scale model goes with 3D and drawings go with 2D. Okay? So, you either have a picture of a large area condensed down, think a map. Okay, map of the United States can fit on a small piece of paper, but it's actually huge, right? Or you have a scale model, so think of like they're building a building and they make a little tiny model of it. That's the scale model. So when we are talking about scale models and scale drawings, we talk about the scale factor or the scale. Okay, so the scale factor goes with drawings, and it's a ratio. Such as 1/87. And what that means is that each dimension of the drawing is 1/87th of the corresponding dimension. So, and then we have scale, okay, and a scale goes with models. And it is a ratio between two sets of measurements. All right. So, and actually, I think scale factor could go with drawings too. Or scales could go with drawings too, because the only difference is a scale factor tells you that every 1/87th of something means it's the original, like in this case, the original is 87 times larger. Okay, but it's using the same dimension. This is the same dimension. And a scale is different dimensions. So I guess we don't need to say that they're specific to something. Okay, so identifying a scale factor. We have a race car, an actual race car, and we have a model, and we have a length, and we have a height. Okay, so our length is in inches, and our height is in inches as well. So we have, so this is a scale factor because it's the same dimensions. The length is 132 inches, the length of the model is 11, the height of the race car is 66, and the height of the model is 5.5. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the model length over the race car length. Okay, and then we're going to take the model height over the race car height. We actually don't have to use both of these, but I want you to see how either way would work. So you have to remember that we always do, when we are setting up our fraction to see what the scale factor is, we always do model over actual, okay? Do not do actual over model. It is always model over actual. So the model length was 11 and the race car length was 132. The biggest number that goes into both of those is 11, so we divide this by 11 and this by 11, and we get 1 over 12, okay? And then, and actually we're just dividing it by this number because we want this number must be 1, okay? So same thing with the per something. And then we're going to look at the model height of 5.5 over 66. We're going to divide both by this number because we want our numerator to be 1.5, and we get 1/12. So the reason I wanted to do both is you can either use the length or the height and reduce both of those by dividing both by the numerator, and you should get the same thing. So the model is 1/12 of the size of the race car, or the race car is 12 times the size of the model. Okay, example 2. It says a photograph of Renee whatever's painting the schoolmaster has dimensions 5.4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. The scale factor is 1/15. Scale factor equals 1/15. Find the actual size of the painting. So this time we are looking for the actual size of the painting and not the scale factor. But if you remember, you always put the model over the original. So the model in this case is the photo, and the original is the actual picture. Okay, so this is the photo over the painting in this case, because the photo is kind of like the model of the painting. So this here, the scale factor, set up the same way. It's saying that it's 1/15. The photo is 1/15 the size of the painting. So now we're going to set up two proportions, all right? The first proportion we're going to set up is 5 point. We're going to take this number here and do 5.4 over x equals the scale factor of 1/15. And then we're going to set up another proportion, and with that proportion we're going to use the width of the picture. So this is the length and this is the width. Okay, so we're going to set up a length proportion, and then we're going to set up a width proportion. So we're going to take the width of 4 over x equals 1/15. So we're going to say the length over x equals a scale factor, the width over x equals a scale factor. And then we're going to cross multiply and divide. And when we cross multiply and divide, that is going to give us our actual length and our actual width. So 5.4 times 15, and that equals 81 centimeters. And then we're going to take, again, cross multiply, and we get x equals 4 times 15, and x equals 60 centimeters. On a map of Florida, the distance between somewhere in Tampa is 10.5 centimeters. So it's Hialeah and Tampa. So this distance here is 10.5 centimeters. Okay? The scale factor, map scale, equals, and sometimes they'll do this, 3 centimeters dot dot 125 kilometers. But you can write that as 3 centimeters over 125 kilometers. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the model over the actual. So in this case, it would be the map over the actual state. okay? So if we're doing that, I'm sorry, this right here, this number, I don't know why it's not deleted. Okay, this is supposed to be an 8 right there. That's the only difference. So we take our scale of 3 over 128, okay, and we have to come up with a proportion. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this number here to set up our distance proportion. So just like our picture proportion up top, our distance proportion, since there's only one distance, whether you go from Tampa to the town with the H or the town with the H to Tampa, you're going to go the same distance. So we're going to take our 10.5, remember that always goes up top, what we're looking for always goes in the denominator, and we're going to set that equal to our scale factor. And then we are going to cross multiply 3 times x equals 128 times 10.5, and we get 3x equals 1,344. You can use a calculator for that. Divide each side by 3. Those cancel, and when you divide, you can use a calculator, and you get 448 kilometers. I don't know why we're doing kilometers when we live in America. But anyways, that's what you do. It's always the model over the actual. If you are finding a missing length, it's the length you have over x equals a scale factor. Missing width, the width you have over x equals a scale factor. A distance, the scale distance you have over x equals the scale factor.